In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to target elements based on values in their attributes. So for example, let's create a list item, and maybe we'll have a 3. And within here, we'll say NetTouch, WP Touch, which is our WordPress site, and PSD Touch. And now I want to style maybe the list item that links to NetTouch specifically. Maybe we want to give it our green branded color. So we're going to link to NetTouch. And then we're also going to link to WP Touch and PSD Touch. There we are. And if I view this in the browser, you can see, as we would expect, we have a handful of list items. So now I want to target the anchor tag that links to NetTouch. Well, we could do something like this. First child, color is green, and make sure we target the anchor tag, and we're done. But the problem with this, of course, is it's very rigid. If we were to move NetTouch below, that's no longer going to work. So that's not a good option. We want it to be based upon the href value. So we can do that right here by saying, get the anchor tag that has a href that equals this value. And when you find one, then make the color green. Let's try that. There we go. And now, regardless of where it occurs within the unordered list, we are targeting that based upon an attribute value. Now, what we have right here isn't CSS3. We've been able to do this for a long time. What if we just want to check that the word touch plus is there? And then we can ignore other sites. For example, Yahoo. Do you know how you would do that? You only want to style anchor tags that link to a touch plus site. Well, in that case, this is not going to work. Even if we did something like this, it's not going to match, as we can see right there. So what we want to do is say, select it based on whether it contains the word touch plus. So let's get rid of all of this. And then I'm going to change the equal sign to star equals. And before I explain it, let's make sure it does work. Reload, and there we are. Now we're selecting only the anchor tags that link to a touch plus site. So how does this work? What is this star symbol? Well, if you're familiar with regular expressions, this is sort of where it comes from. Now in this case, the star symbol followed by an equal sign means contains, essentially. Find a href that contains touch plus. Even if we change this to touch, it's still going to work. So you can be as specific as you need to be. Now, what if instead we want to link to not a URL, but maybe a link to a file? Now it's fairly common when you're linking to a PDF, maybe you want to provide a little bit of feedback for the user. So maybe you add a little thumbnail or a little background image that lets them know. Let's see how we could do it. In this case, we just want a proof of concept. Maybe we will use CSS to add a little PDF symbol at the beginning. All right, let's figure that out. I'm going to go back to our style sheet and now comment this out. And we're going to say find an anchor tag and then make sure that the href ends in PDF. And that way we know we are linking to a PDF file. And we can say look at the end of the string by using $equals.pdf. Let's test this out by setting the color to red. And we are linking to that. All right, once again, let's go over this. This is coming from regular expressions. When you're working with regular expressions, we can use $equals to look for the end of the string. If you instead wanted to look for a file that began with PDF, you would change that to caret. And we'll come back to that shortly. Now, let's have some fun. And we'll say get the anchor tag, and before it, we're going to add some content, and we'll say PDF. And then I will make sure I add my $sign back in to refer to the end of the string. Now if I reload, you can see PDF, but it doesn't look very good. That's okay, let's style it and have a little bit of fun. We'll set the font size to maybe 13 pixels, set the font family to sans serif, set a background color of black, and a color of white, reload, and set a border radius of 8 pixels. We'll set padding all around to 5 pixels. Now that's still too big, so I'm going to bring the padding down to 2 pixels and maybe the font size down to 11. And let's see that at actual size because I am zoomed in. Okay, and yes, we're not going to win any awards for this, but it's just a proof of concept that we can style anchor tags specifically based on the values. And this is something that's not quite as common. We style it based upon where it occurs in the document or what the class is. But it's equally powerful to style it based upon the contents of, in this case, the href. Here, we're styling all anchor tags that link to a PDF. And what's cool about this is, let's say we have another file. This is going to work the exact same way because it's targeting all of them. Now, the last one that we'll look at is something we've already covered. It is using the caret symbol. So if I want to target an anchor tag where it begins with, and this time we'll say HTTP, we can know that the styling placed within here only refers to external links, because in a website you have local links, somepage.html, like this. But if you have HTTP, and it's an absolute external link, and maybe you want to have maybe a symbol that lets the user know that they are linking away from the current site. In this case, let's just set the font weight to bold and make sure that we do have some relative links for comparison. I'm going to copy this, and let's say this one links here, and we'll do one more right in the middle, somepage.html. If we did this right, the only ones that are not bold should be the ones right here and right here. Let's try it out. And it's a little tough to see, so let's change the color instead to yellow. Reload, and now you can see it's terrible looking, but we are successfully targeting all external links. Okay, and that's going to do it for this episode. There's extreme amounts of power, especially if you're an excellent designer. You can provide a lot of flexibility for the visitors by using the star to target any value that does occur, whether it's matched or not, using a dollar to look at the end of a value, and using the caret to look at the beginning. And remember, you are not limited to href. If you want to look in the title attribute, you can do that as well.